Uh,
We gonna do this thing or what?
I'll just ask a couple questions about you and your art,
That sounds like you're looking for trouble.
and you can respond however you want. So you make art?
Yeah, you're probably. I let my mind wander and wander, and then it's just there. Most of the time it's with a pencil, or a pen, or both hands, or a hammer, or a wet rag, or a knife, or a brush. Yeah, I do art.
Could you expand on that, please?
Most of the time I just make it up. Usually it's stupid, but then it becomes something really, really stupid. One project, I was thinking about how people don't like Comic Sans. I didn't understand why. It worked, it was easy to read, it's not important. Yet, people are so upset, purely by its aesthetic. So I thought, why not have Comic Sans respond to its haters? Like, why don't you like me? Or, I know you're trying to avoid me. So I stuck those up around Bristol City Centre one Christmas and saw how people reacted. It was, oh god, it was so dumb. So stupid.
That doesn't sound stupid.
Oh, but it is. It was so dumb. And I like that. It's a good dumb. It doesn't make sense on the surface, but when you look really, really into it, still might not make any sense. I remember the show back in Bristol, in the Art of Really, by Basim Magni. It was so odd on the surface, but when you looked into it, when you saw the story, it didn't make much sense either. Supposedly it was about society's discomfort and its dreams. But even then I felt that it was just a way to express, a medium to express hilarity and silliness.
Does that mean you see yourself more as a fine artist than an illustrator?
No, I don't like that. I see those terms as more of a means to an end as opposed to using them themselves. Like, my art practice is across the board. I've never been comfortable sitting myself up in one of those two camps, most because I make it up. Sure, that sounds fine arty, but also I make everything illustratively up as well. The best way I can describe what I do is I make stories, I make narratives, and then bring them up into the world in whatever way feels appropriate. Most of the time through pictorial methods, some others writing. My current project is about people who've lived underground for 100 years over about, and a subgroup of them have discovered a means to go on the surface. They started a social movement trying to encourage the ones still underground to go on the surface because living there is shit, and designed it in a way in which if you've been living on the ground for so long, eyesight would be done bad. So illustrative means, visual art means would be hard to describe them all. So I ended up just creating a narrative of theirs through sound art, which is relatively new for me. A person who I take inspiration from is Florian Hecker's chimerization. That's it. Chimerization? Chimerization. One of those. You're gonna cut this, right? I made a 3-minute soundtrack which loops over time, and it progressively became more and more distorted. I housed it inside this little clean box mounted on a wall so people could stick their heads in whenever they wanted and experience it as if they were a normal person surfacing. And nonsense is great, but nonsense that makes sense, that is amazing. There was an improv comedy show ages ago, Whose Line Is It Anyway? And I blame them a lot for how my brain works. Quick fire, stupid, immediately met with another stupid, and then punched in the gut with a third law of stupid. But in the narrative they form with each bits, it makes sense. Even if that narrative is 30 seconds long, you enjoy it. You can't experience that moment again.
And you've managed to bring that stupidity into your work.
I mean, it's not difficult. The hard part is letting yourself be stupid. But it's very easy when you don't think it matters. It's even easier when you ask for prompts from your friends or the internet. There are these illustrators on YouTube called Drawfame. They do quite a similar thing where they ask their audience, their commenters, to leave them dumb ideas to which they can make even dumber drawings alongside their drawings, which usually take 30 minutes. They talk about backstory or make a goofy line or just make jokes and jokes and jokes, and it's wholly believable within that 30 minutes from something so dumb. Improv can do things like hold emotional weight. One podcast, The Adventure Zone, something I'm listening to recently, they've built these characters out of nothing, out of jokes. The whole show is a Dungeons and Dragons show made up from three brothers and a dad for entirely jokes between them. And then as it went on and on and on, it grew into something really heartfelt and meaningful. That's pure nonsense.
I'm finding it difficult to figure out how this links to you making art.
You want to know how I started making art?
Yes.
Okay. I started like any other dumb kid who thought drawing was cool. Manga. Specifically Bakuman. It's about a manga artist duo trying to make a manga to achieve their dreams of becoming successful. And because of that manga, I drew all the time. It was so much fun until I realized how shit I was. All I did was ever make bad character designs, never maintain style or consistency. But that was also the time when I tried writing for the first time, or at least tried writing too hard, too complex a story to match the likes of Bakuman. Improv, as of recent, was just a quick way to get that process a lot quicker. Since then, I've tried to draw as much as possible, or at least practice. Need more practice.
So that's why you're doing this draw every day challenge?
Initially, yeah, trying to practice my technical ability, and then upload it every single day on my social media, Instagram, Facebook. But as the challenge progressed, I became despondent towards it. It became an automatic process in the end. It's more things happened despite of what I was thinking about. Like monsters and creatures and weird shit. As if I was diving into my subconscious and dragging whatever came out onto paper. I imagine this is what was his name? Robert Clifton. That one. I imagine that's what he was going through when he was reading Jung and Freud and that kind of thing. God, I love that kind of thing. How the subconscious supposedly influences so much of your waking being.
I don't understand what you're saying at all.
Of course you don't. You're not even real. I'm just so up myself that I would never dare ask someone else to interview me other than me.
I'm just gonna ignore that and move on.
Yeah, good. Otherwise we're not gonna get a 10-minute video done.
You mentioned YouTube earlier. I imagine you must be very active on that and other social media.
Usually it's just a lot of scrolling past so many better artists than me.
And has that affected your practice in any way?
It's made me want to give up a few times, if I'm honest. But if they're online, then I too will eventually get an audience that big, or be that good. One or the other. I think, that being said, I think when it comes to someone's work on Instagram, I'm a lot more drawn towards the artist as a person than the artwork. If their work feels like who that person is, I prefer it. For example, Laura Zombie. Her work is so bright and colourful, and it has so much of her presence, mostly because she's also quite a bubbly character. Her message in her art is consistent throughout. She doesn't paint for a reason. She paints because it's fun. And in doing so, she pokes fun at societal structures in a very grungy, colourful, punk way. To play any game by your own rules, and that's how I want to be. Though probably not as bubbly.
So you paint too?
Of course. It's great. It feels right. Because I lose myself in each colour, each mark, until whatever emotional baggage I feel runs dry. And then you do it again, and you do it again. And it comes and goes, just like the fleeting nature of human emotion. I blame LCD for my initial love of painting. XDT and Kaaro had a lot of emotions listening to their music, like Vanilla Twilight or Saltwater Room, and painting was the only way to spill all that out. But it's never really good. It wasn't until I studied guide editing that I realized how powerfully you can make an artwork's emotion through brushstroke or mark making and letting things happen. Since then, I've purely made colors on canvas. I rarely mix on the palette. It just feels a lot more harsh, more detail, more tone, more things happening, active, present.
Kinda like the art thing with lots of dots, right?
I guess you could say that. The way I paint is quite impressionistic. Maybe more post than anything under that brand, under that umbrella. And especially people like Van Gogh, where the vibrancy of colour move with the brushstroke as if the dance is on the canvas. I think he captures whatever he's experiencing in that moment of time as if I'm looking at a memory. And it's just so cool. I try to do something similar where I paint as authentic as an emotional response I can from the exact moment I'm painting, letting my brush make a series of marks, repeatedly stabbing the canvas or dragging along. It's cathartic. That's the word. Cathartic.
Oh god. That's all the time we have now.
Yeah.
Do you have any words you'd like to finish up on?
No, I'm tired, so I think we're done.
Thank you for your time, and he's out. Okay. Don't much care for that guy at all.